Quiet down because today I'm going to teach you why you need to start cutting exclamation points from your writing. What's up guys, my name's Brandon McNulty. I'm a writer, I'm the author of Bad Parts, and welcome to my writing channel. Today I want to talk about exclamation points, and we're all familiar with these, we know them, they're the punctuation marks that appear at the end of sentences, and they're often used to convey heightened emotion, whether it be joy or surprise or anger or whatever it may be. But the thing about exclamation points is that they're a weak and cheap method of conveying emotion in your story. And I think a lot of writers who use them tend to overuse them, and when you overuse these things, they can make you look like an amateur. So we don't want that. And one of the best ways to just get away from exclamation points is to swap them out for periods. In most cases, periods are stronger than exclamation points. And that's because punctuation marks should not be conveying the tone in your story. If you are relying on punctuation marks to convey tone, you're in trouble. And that's because the scenes themselves, the scenes that you're writing, should be conveying the tone in your stories. And in these scenes, things like your word choice or the actions that your characters are taking or the general context should be enough to convey the fact that your characters are raising their voice or are speaking with heightened emotion. Now, if you are using exclamation points in your story, typically it's an easy fix to get rid of them. And I want to give you a couple examples on how you can actually just swap them out for a period. So the first example I want to look at is using word choice to express heightened emotion. For instance, if you have a character say, "Get off my porch, you asshole," there is no need for an exclamation point at the end of it. It's clear that the person speaking is not saying that tenderly and lovingly. Another great technique is to have characters use actions or gestures prior to speaking. For instance, let's take the line of dialogue, "This soup is cold." Now, that could go any way. We could have a character saying that in a lot of different tones. It could be a somber tone, it could be an angry tone, it could be so many different things. But if you preface that sentence by saying, "Jim slammed his spoon down, this soup is cold," then it becomes more clear because you're not going to slam a spoon down and then speak a line of dialogue quietly or politely. If you're slamming a spoon down, that next thing you say is going to be loud and angry, and even if you just end it with a period, it's going to be clear to the reader that it is spoken with heightened emotion. And then the final thing you can rely on instead of exclamation points is the context within your scene. And this is going to vary from scene to scene, but what I mean by context is everything going on in your scene. What is at stake in this scene? For instance, if you have two characters having a mild conversation at the beginning of the scene and then this conversation escalates into an argument by the end of it, at some point your readers are going to get clued in by the fact that, these characters are giving each other dirty looks, or maybe their sentences are getting shorter or more clipped, or the word choice is being changed. At some point, readers are going to get the impression that this conversation is not as polite as it started, and it's getting into that argument territory, and the characters are starting to raise their voices. But the important thing to remember is that most of the time you don't need exclamation points in your story. And if you're editing your story and you find that you peppered some exclamation points into it, ask yourself, can I just switch this to a period? And if I do switch it to a period, will it still make enough sense? If it doesn't make enough sense, ask yourself, okay, is there anything I can do? Can I make some tweaks to this sentence or this paragraph or this scene in order for it to work? And more often than not, you can make it happen, and you can make your writing come off as more professional, and in general, you can make it stronger. So I hope this helps. Question of the day. Be honest. Do you use a lot of exclamation points in your stories? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, pick up a copy of Bad Parts if you haven't already. Also, be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for me. Share this video with a friend if you don't mind. And as always, remember to keep on writing.